ASMR Vids, famous the world over for high-quality ASMR videos. Hello everyone. Well, today's video comes from a suggestion by one of my subscribers. After making the cheesecake, she gave the suggestion of making something called a Banoffee Pie, which I had never heard of before. But once I researched it, it sounded absolutely delicious. It is a English recipe that came from an English pub, who the owners of the pub called it an American-style pie. Not quite sure why, but there seems to be some controversy around which pub came up with it first. But usually any good food has a controversy that surrounds who came up with it first. In any case, we're going to make it today. It is a combination of toffee and bananas, and it sounds absolutely amazing. So the first thing we needed was some digestive biscuits, since this is a English recipe. So I was able to find some in my local grocery store. There's a very slender section of food from the UK, and I'll put a photo up right now so you can see just how small the UK section of food is in my local grocery store. And the recipe calls for 250 grams, and we have 400 grams here, so about half the package. As you can tell, I've already been eating on them, so probably most of this package. If we have a little left over, it'll be fine. And we're going to make the pie crust with that and put it in here. Very similar to how we did the crust for the cheesecake, but this time they should crush a lot easier than the ginger snaps did. So let's open this bag up there, and let's put in some biscuits. Okay, and we'll put in 2 more. That's most of the package. Spread them out there. Seal them up so they don't get all over the place. And now we commence to crushing. These seem to be much softer. That's nice. Okay, now like we did before, we have the rolling pin here, and let's do a thorough job of it. coming right along. Okay. Looks a nice, decent size, decent amount. I don't think there's any big chunks in there. So the next thing we need to do is melt some butter. Chop this up a little bit so it melts just a little faster. And we're going to do this in the microwave, and I'll be right back. Okay, so here's our melted butter. And here are our breadcrumbs, or our digestive biscuit crumbs. Which smell very, very good. Now, we just need to combine these two things together. Mix it all together. Making sure the butter coats all the pieces of biscuit. Try not to make too much noise here. So I was in England quite a while ago. It's about 17 years ago, maybe 16 years ago. And I will be back there again sometime in March, I believe. We're going to be visiting Hereford. So I'm very excited about. Okay, so now we're going to make the crust. Amounts in here. We're going to smash this down. So because we are going to be visiting England in March, we are buying real actual winter coats because where I live in the southern United States, we do not have the same type of cold that they do, even when it is getting on to early spring. So we will be bundling ourselves up. It has been a while since I have been in a colder climate. I grew up in Kentucky, so I'm not a stranger to it, but I don't think any of the coats that I wore then would fit me now. Put a little bit more along the sides. Try to get it all the way up, because I'm imagining this is going to fill quite a bit of this pie tin. So from what I read about this recipe, there's quite a few different versions and quite a few different ways to make it. So if you know a different version, let me know in the comments. It's coming along rather nicely, I think. I know some people make it with digestive biscuits and others don't. Some people use graham crackers, I'm not sure. But I figured since this is England and for Americans digestive biscuits are pretty quintessential of English cuisine, I thought it would be a nice touch. Okay. Got a little bit more here. So we bring that all the way up the sides. You don't want to get too aggressive with it. So if you know of anything interesting to do in Hereford, please let me know in the comments. I think we're going to be there for about 3 days. Okay, so there's our pie crust. We're going to let this chill. And while we're doing that, we're going to make the toffee. So I'll be right back. Okay, so now it is time to make the toffee filling. So the first thing we need to do is melt butter into this saucepan. Just like that, over low heat. And then we will eventually add some brown sugar. Now, the recipe is written in grams, and I thought I had a scale which would allow me to measure all of these ingredients. But it is obviously broken because I weighed a package of the sugar, which should have been 16 ounces, and it said it was 2. So it is way off, which means I could not measure exactly the 100 grams of brown sugar that I needed. But the package is 454 grams, so I figured I need just a little less than a fourth of it. So I estimated, and once this butter melts, I will add it to the mix. And if it's a little over, that'll just make it a little sweeter, which shouldn't be a problem at all. We're not making candy or anything, where the temperature and the ingredients are very critical. And we're not really even baking. So, okay. I'm going to start adding the sugar a little bit at a time. I'm estimating that it's about a cup, but it's not packed down. It's loosely put in here. So I'm sure it's a little off, but hopefully not too bad. Turn the heat up just a smidge. We are eventually going to boil this, so it's going to have to get really hot. This has the potential of being a sticky mess. Let's put the rest of that in there. Some of the recipes I saw called for just taking the can of condensed milk and poking a hole in it and putting it on the stove and letting the condensed milks turn into toffee all by itself. Which, although that seems simple, I can see many different ways in which that would go wrong. Especially for me. So, I am going to stick to something I think I can control a little better. So basically we're waiting for the sugar to dissolve and not be so gritty. I'm going to turn the heat up just a little bit more. Kind of encourage the sugar to start melting. I did not know this is how you made toffee. I guess toffee is like caramel with milk added to it? I'm not sure. You can still hear it's a little gritty on the bottom. I think the butter is incorporated in there pretty well. It's getting there at least. Yeah, it's looking better now. So if you have any tips for visiting England, since it's been quite a while since I was there. When I was there, we were in a town called Dorking, which is a lovely little town. Spent all told about 2.5 weeks there. And this trip is only going to be about 4 days, so quite a bit quicker. I think that is dissolved, or at least the butter is incorporated into the sugar. So now we're going to pour in this condensed milk. We're just pouring very slowly. But that's okay. We'll slowly stir it in. I poked 2 holes in the can. I guess it's just this thick. I've never really worked with condensed milk before. It is very condensed. It's like there's a whole gallon of milk in this little can. it would probably be to my advantage to create some of these recipes before I made a video out of them. But this is not a cooking channel. This is an ASMR channel. I recently was watching a cooking channel on YouTube. And she mentions that she spends about 70 hours of research on each recipe, making and creating and revising. And that's dedication. It's also her main job. YouTube is her profession. So it makes sense. I think we're coming down to the very last little bit of this. I hope. Okay, I think that's good. Put that over there. Now we're going to raise the temperature significantly. And we're going to let that come to a boil. And then we're going to set a timer for 1 minute. And let it boil for 1 minute. Then I'm going to quickly transfer it to my pie plate, which means I need to get ready for that. So I'm going to go over here to the refrigerator, off camera. I think this is cooled for the proper amount of time. What I'm going to try to do is have this boiling here, turn the camera, and have the pie plate right next to it. I need to be stirring this continuously. You don't want it to burn to the bottom of the pan. I also have a pot of water boiling on the stove so that when I get done pouring this toffee out, I can stick this pan in the hot water and keep what's remaining from seizing up into a mess. So you'll hear a pot boiling. That's what it is. Since we don't have any non-stick pots, I have to work around and constantly be stirring. Okay, so I'm going to start my timer now that this is boiling pretty well. Constantly stirring it, trying to make a not scalding mess out of it. turn my temperature down just a little bit. Looks kind of gross. So after a minute, I'm going to take it off of the heat and then transfer it to the pie pan. Okay, so that is done. Move this over here, and we're going to pour this in. I'm going to scrape out as much as I can out of the bottom and around the sides so that I don't have as much to clean up. Okay, so let me move this over so you can see it better. There. That is the toffee portion. And now we let that cool for an hour, and then we put on the whipped topping and the bananas. So I will see you in an hour. Okay, so the pie is in the refrigerator, and it has been cooling for about 45 minutes. So I'm going to start prepping the topping, and by the time we're done with it, it should be ready to go. So the first thing we need to do is cut up some bananas for the banana part of the banoffee, and then we're going to whip some heavy cream to put on the top. So let's chop some bananas up. We'll start with 3 and see how that works. I have a bowl here. We're just going to chop it into some regular sizes here, some nice slices. And this is the way I peel a banana. I know the internet says there's other ways to peel a banana, but that's the way I do it. More should be plenty. I'm excited to see how the pie is going to have set up once it cools down. So I think that's a good amount of bananas. And we have one more that we haven't cut up if we need to. So now the next thing is to create some whipped cream by literally whipping some cream. So let's pour this in here. Okay, a magical transformation from milk to whipped cream. That's all it is. So let's move this out of the way. Let's bring in our bananas. There's our whipped cream. They want us to add half of the bananas to the whipped cream. It didn't say to mash them up or anything, it just said to add them. I'm not sure. If that would help or not. So let's fold these in. So I maybe should have mashed those up with it. I'm not sure. It'll be okay. Now let's go see what our pie looks like. It looks beautiful. So I'm going to add the bananas. These things are slippery. To the top of the pie. Try to make it kind of symmetrical. Those are slippery. Get over that. These will be covered up with whipped cream anyway, so it really doesn't matter that much. Okay. Now for the final piece. Putting on the whip. Topping with bananas hidden in it. I think that's a good amount. So here we have Banoffee Pie. And there's one final ingredient. That is chocolate, which they want me to grate over the top. I want to get enough chocolate to have some flavor. Good. I think that's nice. So here we have Banoffee Pie. I'm sure it is absolutely delicious. I'm going to chill this for a little bit and then have a slice. Well, welcome back. It is the next morning, and I have cut a piece of this delicious looking pie, and it's already started to kind of melt a little bit. It was really nice and triangular when I cut it, but we have some leakage here. So this is my breakfast. So it's not often that I get to have pie for breakfast, so I'm eager to dive right in and see what it tastes like. It's very chewy. Look at that. Mm. Mm. That is amazing. I was worried that there might not be enough banana in it, but after this is set in the refrigerator, the banana flavor is perfect. I don't get a lot of the chocolate yet. Let's see. But the toffee consistency is perfect. It's not super chewy, but it has a really nice consistency. Mm. And it's not, I mean, it is sweet, but it's not overpoweringly sweet. I'm glad I used the digestive biscuits because they aren't necessarily a sweet cookie. And so it helps balance out the sweetness of the sugar and the milk. And the flavor of the crust, the biscuits, comes in right at the very end and kind of cuts through all that sweetness. I think I may have found a new comfort food. It does tend to want to spread out on the plate. Excuse me. So I highly recommend this recipe. I'll put a link to the webpage I used to help me make this. Definitely recommend the digestive biscuits. And I'm not really catching a lot of the chocolate flavor. So if you wanted more of that, I would probably add some more somewhere. But the amount of banana is also perfect. It actually blends together very nicely into a complete complex flavor instead of distinct flavors. Well, this has been a very decadent breakfast for me. I think next time I need to bring a dessert somewhere, this is what I'm going to make. So I've never had anything quite like this before that I can remember. Okay. Well, thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you decide to make this, let me know. I'd like to see and hear about how it turned out for you guys. So if you haven't subscribed, please do. I have a lot more videos and a lot more exciting things coming for this channel. Thanks for watching, guys.